acknowledge those who are here today, specifically the UNISA Principal and Vice Chancellor, Prof. Buleng Lengabula. I want to assume by now she's well known. Members of UNISA extended of MENCOM first Management Committee, secondly extended MENCOM constituted amongst the many by executive deans and executive directors or other people of certain specialized areas. Let me call it all Unisans. You know, when you say Unisans, we are inclusive of everyone here at the university, inclusive of our students and labor, or organized labor. Let me, above that, also extend our greetings to the public or citizens of South Africa, members of the Senate, also the convocation of let me not forget our friends from media. You know, whenever there is a bad publicity by media, I always argue this, MENCOM, just to console yourself. There's a quotation by Ellen Goodman, and quoting as follows: "In good journalism, there has always been a tension between the getting it first and getting it right," unquote. So the contestation is real. Who must publish first, and also who must get it right first. So that contestation is there and it's real. And once you understand this context, you will be able to understand the world of media or journalism better. As I'm inviting to the podium the Principal and Vice Chancellor of UNISA, and maybe UNISA nowadays, you don't just mention UNISA alone. There must be qualification every time. The university that has increased its ranking, the university that has increased its research output, the university that has increased its throughput. I think it's important to always link this with UNISA. The university that has signed now another 3 years of multi-agreement with organized labor. I think they must be synonymous. Whenever you write something about UNISA, put this thing next to UNISA. Then they will make sense by putting the dots together. I shall then be inviting our Principal and Vice Chancellor to share with us, to share with the citizens of this country, but beyond the borders of South Africa, in Africa itself, within Africa itself, to the global community. It's very important because you know UNISA is not a regionalized kind of university, it's a global institution. So I'm going to allow today, because we've not met for long, we should have met last year, but both of us as UNISA, inclusive of yourself as members of media, you've been very busy with ad hoc committee and Matanga Commission. So we believe this is the right time for the Principal and Vice Chancellor to come and share with you. But before I do that, I want to introduce members of our MENCOM and beyond MENCOM, those who are invited by the Office of the Principal and Vice Chancellor with the MENCOM, so that you know who's here. Because sometimes people assume things, so we don't want assumptions. Sometimes we are told that you are running alone. And my argument has always been otherwise, to say, out of all these people sitting here, are we declaring a brain drain of some sort, that they can go to meetings alone, go to a meeting and one person decide alone? It's a critical, pertinent question that we must ask. But above that, you can't run an institution of 7,000 plus close to 400,000 students, 1.1 alumni component, and one person just do that. Above that, there is legislation. We are legislated by the laws of the country on how we must statutory bodies. So let me start with the pen of the institution. A person responsible to write for the council, MENCOM, IF, convocation, and everywhere else. The register of the university, Prof. M. Sepota. Prof, if you may, because you should not assume that they know you. Thank you, Prof. Then the acting vice principal, research, postgraduate studies, innovation, and commercialization. You see, there are a lot of things happening there. It's Prof. Doctor, is Prof. Mweke. I really mixed him with Prof. Dr. Chivas. Prof. Mweke. Thank you, Prof. And he's a We have also Prof. S.R. Mahan, Vice Principal for Institutional Development. That's where HR and institutional advancement, they are hosted. Prof. Mahan. The CFO, we've got the CFO in absentia, acting CFO, Mr. Byron Stanfleet. Then we've got Mayor M. Naken Bring, Mamulao, acting VP Strategy, Risk and Advisory Services. Now there is the landlord, Mr. M.S. Motebele, responsible for operation and facilities. Thank you, Dr. Motebele. Now, amongst ourselves, we've got different deans from different colleges. There is Prof. Budeli, who's the executive dean of the College of Law, and sometimes an acting judge. So we are cruising very nice. There's also executive dean of the College of Education. She always say, you know, here at South Africa, we are the highest producer of all teachers. That's Prof. M. Makwe. Then we've got Prof. Zetu Nkosi, the executive dean of the College of Human Science. There's also Prof. Masichaba, who's the acting executive dean of the College of CEMS, College for Economic and Management Sciences. So thank you very much. And there's also, here the Prof. Cameron Mutisa. Sometimes I get lost whether it's a dean or a deputy dean, because he's always everything. From the College of Accounting Sciences. So he writes media ops now and then. So if you want to use him, you can always use him. There's also an acting, if I'm not mistaken, dean from SBL. Molejwa. Prof. Molejwa. Molejwa. Thank you. My tongue sometimes operates anti-clockwise. So you must forgive me when it happens. I hope that I've acknowledged all the executive deans who are here. I know also in our midst we've got the acting executive director from Legal Services Office. They advocate, there's another thing. Is it a doctor or professor? Yes, Mabusela. cases. And I think you've been seeing that we've been winning cases week in. And actually, we said to him he must now change his division to be called Bekele Beke. Because we are winning cases. Just yesterday, 2 cases were won in a space of 2 days, just to try to clear the image and the brand of the institution. There is also Ntate Lebo Mukwat. You know, this is in the community service reporting to the Office of the Registrar responsible for governance. I don't know, VC, if I've missed anyone. There are now distinguished researchers, academics amongst us, and I wanted to start with Prof. Chibuezi. I don't know if he's here. He likes playing outside, but he's here today. And there is also Prof. Bopape, and the last one, VC, this. And Prof. Masing, who's also responsible for, as an executive director, in the office of the principal and vice chancellor. And there's also Professor Feleni. So the distinguished scholars, researchers, academics, these are the people who are known worldwide, renowned. So if you see them at UNISA, you must know that we don't sleep the whole night because any offer might come their way. So, but the principal and vice chancellor shall then, in an address, try to clarify their different roles so that you understand when we boost that we've got the creme de la creme at UNISA. It is not just gossips. We don't like gossips. We operate on the basis of very angry with me. Events responsible to engage. Principal and have done. Let me to share whatever you have with the citizens of the country, the global community, also with our friends from media. Thank you very much.
Sanbonan, Dumelang, Absheni, Khotsong, Salam Alaikum. Colleagues, we are in Africa or in America. I'll start. Yeah. Okay.
No, sorry for that, VC. You know, I nearly thought that I'll do it later. But Mr. Uma says, hey, you are messing my relationships. In attendance, we've got SABC Radio News, SABC TV News, the independent media, and UNISA Radio. You know, to have a radio in your university, you can ask colleagues from other spaces. It's not a child's play. They are here. Mamukete and Dineo and others. There's also 18 News who are here present today. I forgot to acknowledge David Mainel. I thought he's not here. That Mainel guy. Oh, he likes hiding. Everywhere in meetings, he's always hiding. So he's working as a director in the office of the principal and vice chancellor. But because we produce for the country and the world, he's also a board member there at SABC. So he always asks, whenever he's submitted in the board, you must know you should have passed via my office for advices. Thank you very much.
Colleagues, I think we're still in the continent, so I'll start. Molweni, Sanbonan, Absheni, Khotsong. Good morning. Khwemore. Thank you very much. I'm truly appreciative, Program Director, Professor Senokwani, the Executive Director responsible for advancement in media, communications, and marketing. Thank you for laying the foundation. Leadership of the University Management Committee, as well as the Extended Management Committee, the students, academicians, administrative staff, and all committed citizens of this university as it is of our country. I wish to this very first gathering of the University of South Africa and the media fraternity. This is our an important installation of our engagement through our partnership with yourselves, so that we ensure that as a university, a citizen, or the formation of students who become citizens through education and contribute to the political, economic, transformations of our society. It is really heartwarming to greet you this morning. But I'm also appreciative that 2 or 3 weeks ago, the University of South Africa had met to reflect on its challenges, opportunities, accomplishments, how we institute an acceleration system and acceleration architectures to help us accomplish our outcomes. Universities by nature are known as institutions that necessarily embody multiplicities of epistemic communities to ensure that the science academic project, the impact in the country, in the local context and the global context are appreciated. As I welcome you to this media engagement of the University of South Africa, today's briefing not only is an important opportunity for us to reflect with you about the institutional journey during the period 2021 to 2025, but also as a platform to help you understand what we have mapped as a journey or a platform for the courses ahead as we enter 2026 and beyond. UNISA remains South Africa's largest and most diverse university, with multiplicities of epistemic communities that form or that are constitutive to its fabric. We also remain the largest university in the continent, with the largest footprint in the global arena, where at least in 130 countries, UNISA has students or has a footprint. And therefore we see ourselves not only as a comprehensive open distance and e-learning institution, but a science diplomat which shapes and continues to shape educational access, research excellence, intellectual leadership at a continental and global scale. We're proud of the opportunity that this university creates for our global impact. Over the past 5 years, our institution has demonstrated resilience, strength, navigating a complex global, national, and sectoral environments with a focus and determination to overcome the aftermath of COVID-19, a period of death-dealing situations where sometimes hope would have been lost. This university enabled us to contend, but also to overcome that difficult period. Allow me to reflect briefly on some of the milestones that have defined UNISA in recent history. Between 2021 and 2025, the university has seen exceptional graduation performance, and with each year graduating more than 50,000 students. I would say just in the last graduation, we had at least over 60,000 students that graduated with UNISA. And in last year, we produced over 550 doctoral outputs in 2025 only. We are quite appreciative because we contribute to the National Development Plan, and we are almost 74% towards accomplishment of the aspired numbers. These figures for us as UNISA reaffirm UNISA's leadership in high-level skills production, the vital role in supporting national development. Additionally, the university is honored to have over 10,800 graduates who could not graduate during COVID-19, but who registered themselves to graduating. We're quite appreciative that we made their period and their accomplishments to be evident, projected, and to be recognized. This was not just an act of celebration, but it was the restoration of dignity, the recognition of the hard work that they would have invested in their studies, but also the recognition of the COVID-19 interruption of the academic journey, including the graduations. During this period, UNISA also has demonstrated significant advances in research output, local relevance, and global impact. Our performance in the international rankings shows sustained improvement it demonstrates that we are a complex, transnational university and institution of the university, ensuring that edge, astrophysics, space sciences, square kilometer array, but also astronomy. We are also aware of the cutting edge work that is done by our colleagues on weather sciences, on environmental sciences, on research in the Antarctica that helps us to understand beyond our local context, but exactly what life, its meaning, the complex pluriversality of the world and its multidisciplinary aspects are underway. I recognize Professor Feleni, I recognize Professor Pupape. These are strong women intellectuals, colleagues. If you don't know them, as a South African, you've missed out, and we are showcasing them to you so that you understand the investment that UNISA is making in the improvement of the academic program. As Africa steps boldly into the era of frontier astrophysics, the Africa Millimeter Telescope, we are aware that we're making history. It has not been made before. It requires the support of the government, of the private sector, of the scientists that are in awe of discovery, of investments in the development of our country, of our continent, and which will make and sharpen the world's ability to produce time-resolved images of the black holes, advancing our understanding of the universe. I'm equally appreciative that the colleges that are here demonstrate excellence. We produce over 52% of the teachers in the private and public institutions of this country, in the global arena, including some of the leaders of councils of higher education, ministers of education in multiplicities of countries, or even ministers of transport in Ethiopia and elsewhere. These colleagues give a footprint of our country, and it's an important arena for your appreciation. This country, the University of South Africa produces at least 35% of chartered accountants in our country, majority of whom come from disadvantaged. You call them previously disadvantaged, we call them African or Black South Africans, but also globally, global citizens. In this year, the College of Accounting Sciences has also done something remarkable that will help the country in its research, forensics, and investigation outcome. We have registered at least 80 students who are working for the SIU, who will improve the investigation arena and forensics of the country, so that research becomes the center of policy decisions, but also policy implementation of the country. So we are not just doing research that individual researchers benefit from. We're working with institutions to ensure the improvements of our country, including the leaders that are at the center of ensuring that justice, peace, integrity are accomplished within our university. We have the College of Law colleagues. When Professor Snukwane introduced the Dean of the College, she also acts as a judge, meaning we aren't just committed to our university, we are committed to ensuring that the national system, the continental systems, multilateral systems are strengthened. And therefore, we are aware in the College of Law that we have multiplicities of partnerships that are being forged, strengthened with the South African Police Services, the South African Air Force, as well as other contingencies to ensure that peace with justice, as I said, is strengthened. This is even more important in the context of the multilateral and geopolitical contestations that require research-led solutions. I'm appreciative that the College of Economic and Management Sciences is producing economics, decision scientists, what others call actuaries, as well as leaders in the financing systems, including the analytics and the strengthening of budgeting systems within our country, our continent, and how budgets influence the strengthening of the democracy of our country. And equally, we are seeing a lot of improvements in this college in their research, but also including in individual researchers being able to grant fund in order to strengthen the university. In this college, colleagues, there's one of our colleagues, Professor Mudimo, who has raised 60 million rands from Wellcome Trust and others to try to enhance our understanding of the nexus of health, financing, funding, as well as the economy. I think these are sites of excellence that must be projected in any institution. The College of Human Sciences is one of the leading colleges on the humanities, social sciences, nursing and health sciences, and therefore are quite in the cutting edge. As it is, when you go downstairs, you'll find in our gallery a showcase of South African artists communicating with the world about the work that they do, the imagination of the future through art, visuals, creativity that has to be done. It's not just in the science, in the research impact factors, in the research outputs that the college demonstrates its leadership in science, impact, engaged scholarship, and other arena, but you can just go downstairs to have and to witness for yourselves. Colleagues, the TM School, the Business School are at the center of ensuring that governance, as well as business and finance for executives in our world, multilateral systems are enunciated, propelled, and supported. And therefore, if you are in governance and you're not in our school, you'll miss out because this is the university with the largest footprint on this arena. The same is true for business. Equally important, colleagues, is the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, which is in the cutting edge of research on agriculture, environmental sciences, including the Antarctica work that I've spoken to you about. We're quite appreciative of the work that they're doing with the experimental farm, including the work that we're trying to enhance in veterinary sciences within our country and our continent. We're appreciative of the partnership that we have with multiplicities of universities that would like to ensure that as a university we shine. Finally, the College of Science, Engineering and Technology is equally an important player and partner, ranked amongst the top in engineering sciences as well as computer sciences in our country. We think and believe, colleagues, if you want the best science in this country, if you don't know the science campus, you've missed out because there's lots of great work that is ongoing. So I've given you the lay of the land about the science, the engaged scholarship, the academic program, the teaching and learning, but also the local impact and global impact that UNISA is known for, will be known for, and is investing in to catapulting and propelling the great science that universities must be known for. It's equally important, colleagues, to share with you that governance and financial stewardship of the university remain robust, strong at UNISA. All the governance architecture of the university is strong. All the statutory institutional committees and mechanisms for compliance are followed through. The university has achieved, since 2021 and before, unqualified audits. And therefore, we're quite appreciative that between 2021 and 2024, we have demonstrated transparency, financial prudency, institutional viability by ensuring that we comply with the regulations of this country, the financial prudency, the cost containment, the investment in our students who cannot afford their fees, who are not supported by the National Financial Aid Scheme, neither by companies or by their families. We've been able, through our investments, through the foundation, but also through the commitments that the university has made, to commit at least over 200 million to helping students who are on the underside of economic history. We are proud that we are not just thinking about money for its own sake, but money and financial resources of the university are invested for the transformational impact that any university or any society would want towards building a well-governed and ethically grounded institution that contributes to the quality of democracy that our country requires. In the same period, colleagues, in 2021, we had 6 billion, reserves, and that many activities were halted. We are appreciative that the collective leadership of the university has ensured that there's growth in this area, supported by our governance systems that check whether we are prudent in our decisions, but also in our expenditure. From period that we are at 25.4 billion, and this money is not just to be used willy-nilly. We should reiterate that. It's an investment into the future continuity and future scientific rigor of this university in support of what the state and other people of goodwill contribute towards the university. So let us not hurry to think about it, but let us hurry to think around how we use these investments to strengthening the university future. Further, over the past 5 years, as part of continuous improvement of the university associated with our systems, we are quite appreciative, colleagues, that the Department of Higher Education received our revised institutional statute and has approved it. Institutional governance framework, delegations of authority framework, supply management policy, and all other policies that strengthen the governance of the university were approved by Senate and Council of the university. Along these governance accomplishments, digital transformation has remained central to our institutional advancement at the university, precisely because we are strategic, we are comprehensive, we are large, we are complex, we require to be on top of our game, given the scale, the size, and the improvement of the student experience within the diverse regions of our university, to be exact, the 26 regions of the university. We are quite appreciative also because of our commitment to widening access, strengthening student support, and promoting success. These have remained unwavering. Academic advising systems are improving. Early warning and retention mechanisms, psychosocial and co-curricular development have become meaningful at UNISA. And as we enter 2026, we stand at a defining moment, one marked by both global transformation, but also institutional renewal. I begin my second term, therefore, grateful for the confidence that the Council, the Senate, and all other committees of the university have expressed on our leadership. And we thank you as the publics and communities of goodwill, as the university's students, staff, administrators, and academicians for the support you have given, because these improvements that we are sharing with you could not have been accomplished had this management and all these epistemic communities not been of support. This is notwithstanding the challenges that we may have faced, but which we believe at all material times, leadership is not an easy journey. It's a journey that must be marked by resilience and overcoming contradictions. The global higher education landscape, we have stated, is seeing a lot of evolving demands, including the technological changes in artificial intelligence, global political dynamics, and the evolving skills. And I'm appreciative and happy to inform you that UNISA is quite at the center of high quantum, high artificial intelligence systems, high digitalization systems that we're investing in. Earlier, as I told you when I started, we had our Lekhutla, which reflected on accelerating and propelling UNISA into 2026 to 2030 and into developing the 2030 to 2070 strategy. The outcomes of this engagement are quite heartwarming. We committed to streamlining, accelerating our organizational reforms, enhancing student experience, strengthening institutional accountability, and these commitments will drive our collective work in the months ahead. I'm going to finish with something exciting from the operational and facilities environment. I wanted to hold it for the last so that as we finish, you have something beautiful to share with the world, because it's something magnanimous that our university has done. And therefore, I'm keeping it for last. We set our priorities for 2026 to 2030 are anchored in 5 strategic pillars: strengthening our catalytic niche areas and expanding our research agenda through targeted investment, collaboration, and interdisciplinary growth. Academic talent by supporting researchers, increasing NRF-rated profiles, elevating postgraduate training outputs, as well as ensuring that we improve ourselves. We said we are going to advance engaged scholarship and will forge robust partnerships across sectors, industries, and international networks. We said we'll build institutional cohesion through strengthened regional operations, co-curriculum, integration, and enhanced community engagement. We said we will future-proof the university through digital innovation, processes optimization, and organizational renewal. Professor Snukwane has already asserted to you that we said our staff at the University of South Africa must be the most happy, the most productive, and the ones who are at the center of the eradication of poverty, but who use their resources and investment well, because of the investments we have made in the remuneration aspects and the labor piece and the collective support for each other through the 2 organized and approved unions, the NEHAU as well as APSA. These are the 2 labor organizations that have partnered with our university to engender labor peace. I think this is quite important because unions must be partners in the imagination and co-construction of successful institutions in environments where institutions struggle. They are not communities that must just engage management for salary increases, but for constructing how universities or institutions succeed. And we are quite appreciative that this is the type of unions that the University of South Africa has partnered with. Ladies and gentlemen, as we embrace the new era, let us also have courage and clarity. The story of UNISA is a beautiful story that must be told. It's a story of a student who never believed they could access higher education because of its prohibitive prices. But UNISA, being a partner to ensuring that our cost for accessing higher education and quality higher education is important and the success factor. It's a story of an executive who wants to continue learning as they are leading large transnational institutions to continue learning through UNISA. It's a story of not only mediating distance, physical, digital, and otherwise, but is a university that has allowed those who fought for the liberation of this university to amass the credentials and qualification that help them to lead anywhere in the world in the realms of responsibilities that are given. It is a university that is a partner to shaping futures, a home of leaders, a university that continuously ensures it partners with communities, civil societies, non-governmental organizations, industries, multilateral universities. But it's also a university of first. It is the first university in the world to teach via distance. It is also the first university to ensure that whilst others are retrenching staff, that we cordon off our staff from being unemployed and to being the first university that has recruited 863 adjunct academics to create the next generation of doctors and professors, not only for UNISA, but also for the country and the continent. We are proud that in the last 3 months, this idea of getting academicians with qualifications, but sometimes with underemployment or no employment, we're giving them an opportunity to claim their chance. And therefore, the investments that we are making, we're investing them in people, in science, and in the transformation of our society, including in answering the persistent questions of unemployment of our country that we want to solve. We are proud of this important. The same is true to the appointment of postdoctoral fellows in our university to enhance research, internationalization, and to give impetus to building the next generation of leaders of our society. We're also a university of first because we are the first, as we said, in the Africa Millimeter Telescope. But we are also the first university in the country and in the continent to own an airport. Did you hear that? The University of South Africa, as part of propelling its aviation, aeronautics, drones, and digitization systems, has procured an airport that will be used for that training. That is what I said, I'll tell you, is one of the last aspects of what we are doing in operations and facilities, but also in the science that is done by the CIO as well as by the CSAT. And therefore, colleagues, this is history in the making. We will invite you in April or May when the airport is launched for our students, for our academicians, for our society to improve engineering, aviation, and other skills that are necessary for our society. We commit ourselves as the university to a vision that is uncompromising, a vision that harnesses digital innovation, a university that will teach and will ensure that no youth and young adults are left outside the learning value chains. We will build intellectual bridges across the borders and ensure that our university continues to become a science diplomat. We will anchor our leadership in ethics, academic freedom, public responsibility, and we will do everything in our power when our autonomy and our legal mandate as a university are attacked or undermined. We will ensure that the future of the university is in good hands because we have received a 153-year university that has been at the center of shaping our continent and the world, especially decolonial African knowledge, philosophy, sciences, civilization, and the respect for the humanity of each other. We are quite appreciative as this university that you're joining us in an important era when we are going up, and as they say, the rise and rise of UNISA is manifest. It cannot be derailed. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Principal and Vice Chancellor of University of South Africa. Now, when you spoke about the 6 billion reserves that you found, and you are sitting at 6 billion, I was hopeful that you will announce that for the next coming 4 years we'll be sitting at 50 billion. But anyway, media is here to ask those questions. You know, mine is just as an ordinary employee thought that will go there. We thank you also for acknowledging both the accomplishments and the faults. Sometimes people don't think that UNISA, if we are at fault, will apologize or acknowledge. And I hear that in the speech that we were rendering. And of course, you know, the issue of unqualified audits. I know your primary target is what do you call this? Clean audit. Those are the things of Mudisa in there. So we hope that one day in our lifetime we'll be able to have that. And just what you mentioned on the 863 jump, I thought that you know, it must be contextual. It's not the things of the past. They were done. They just started work last month, and the target according to Prof. Maham is 1.5. So you imagine the ratio: 400,000 students by these few individuals. So I think we must also thank you, Principal and Vice Chancellor, with your collective in that regard. Colleagues, we are now going to the Q&S session after this presentation by the Principal and Vice Chancellor. But maybe as a reminder to both the VC and about questions asked. Maybe let me use the quotation of N. for Scan. N says, sometimes God answers other questions. Sometimes God answers our questions with questions. So if it happens, colleagues from media, that the question that you are asking is asked with a question, it's nothing abnormal. It is meant to, you know, engage further so that clarity must be there. The understanding is simple as per our own arrangement. If the question direct who was hired last, they not have that. Certain structure, reporting that inquiries. We are going to use that, understand fully that heads machinery. Take heads. There's a let's take 2 or 3. There's a hand from SABC. Any other hand? It seems for now, it's SABC. Let's allow SABC. And there's also independent. I saw a hand. Yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Ofentes Timo from SABC News. VC, I'd like to find out what has been done following the independent assessor report of 2023, which found that there were procurement scandals, government collapse, and administration failures. Yeah, just on that, as you've painted a picture where you have a qualified audit and everything seems to be hanky-dory. And there was an issue of a statement that you guys released, I believe, yesterday, regarding Professor Mo Tata. If we can just have a status on what led to this particular interdict that has been established. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother from SABC Independent Media.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Sefiso Mahlangu from Independent Media South Africa. I represent the Star, the Pretoria News, the Saturday Star, the Sunday Independent, and IOL. I'm the journalist who published a few years ago that UNISA was collapsing under Lenkabula. So I'm not here to eat my words, program director, but I wish to just congratulate her on her second term. So maybe I can edit my headline today to say it's in fact still standing. I have two questions. My first question is on the second term of universities, the war on and the Arabic world, and a view on the President Donald. Our second, we with glee flying high in the as the background, the administrative process has been done, the civil aviation licenses. How far is the process and what has the red tape been like in the administration? Maybe if I can add a third question, program director. We've often noted that the university is missing in the study of the arts, dramatic arts, entertainment, film production, theatre production. And South Africa, of course, is at an advantage as one of the directors on the continent of the film technology in the arts. Does the university have an interest to develop and adapt the study of theatre production in the arts? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think these were the only questions for this session, and I'm going to allow the principal and vice chancellor. You know can answer better, but I'm happy that independent media came here for. I wish I had, what do you call this thing at Roman Catholic Church? Confession box. We are going to put you on the other side and independent on the other side. But I once read the book of a man, an academic, who then wrote a thesis. Later, somewhere when he was done with his thesis and now publishing, he then realized that the fine something that he now speaks to him. He then changed the title. He wrote a book specifically for that, or an article or a book called or titled "How I Changed My Mind." Principal and Vice Chancellor.
Perhaps to build on what Professor Snukwane has just said, many academics sometimes have, as they are studying or writing their master's or their PhD or honors, they think, oh my goodness, this is the most important question that I'm dealing with. But later, with deepened research, they discover something. So they don't just write the title of the book that Professor Snukwane speaks to is quite important. But if you'll see, many academics write rethinking African philosophy or rethinking science. This is that idea of constant growth and evolution in discovery, analysis, and understanding. I'm very disappointed, SABC, that you want to drag us to something that is historical and something that the facts we are sharing today demonstrate was just aspersions, conjecture, and without any foundation on the quality of academicians at UNISA, on the quality of science that UNISA is about, on the quality of governance processes and financial management and accountability that we have stated to you in the statement that we have made, that since 2021 up to 2024, we have been receiving unqualified audits and which do not demonstrate any irregularities that are consonant or that could compare with what this so-called, and I put it as so-called, independent assessor report was about. So it's unfortunate, but I think it's good for the media. It's sensational. The second aspect, you're asking us about the so-called independent assessor report. This report was taken for review, but prior to the report, you'll remember that there were 4 cases in which the report was used either to put the university under administration and whatever. The courts of this land had said those actions were illegal. They were a contempt of the legal processes of the country, and therefore it might be constructive that you go back and understand those outcomes and the processes that were underway. Thirdly, the report is under review. The courts of the land have the rights to ensure that justice is adjudicated. But I always wonder why you as the media do not ask who wrote the report. What is he a professor of? What is he known for in the country? What's the impact of the research that they've done in ways that negate the work that is done by these rated researchers that I've just given you? We have 321 in this university. Many universities have 10, 20, or 30. And then I'm being asked about a professor who says UNISA doesn't have good academics. The National Research Foundation tells you we have some of the excellent academics in this university. The one sitting before you is a B-rated scholar in this country. B is a highly acclaimed research position. The one I referred to, Professor Chibwezi, is a highly acclaimed scholar in the world, the first one to do this African millimeter telescope research that we're talking about. He just delivered a keynote at the Royal Society Award in the United Kingdom, one of the most prestigious awards in the world for the best scientists in the world. He's here amongst us. I'm not talking about things that you cannot see. They are here, they are evident. There's a young woman here, Professor Usisipo Feleni. She does excellent work studying why there are materials in the water, medical materials in the water, and how we can purify water to ensure that we drink quality drinking water. And you asked me about a report that never acknowledged these important imperatives. Finally, we have said to you as media people, perhaps reading and research is quite an important arena for media personalities. We said at the same time as Professor Musia was undertaking the so-called independent assessor report, the statutory organization, institution in our country, the Council on Higher Education, had done an assessment of the University of South Africa, had found that out of the 16 clusters of outputs, the 10 were excellent, the 3 were areas of improvements, and the 3 required us to work hard and put our hands on deck. I'm not sure why we have to have the albatross on our head when the work of the university is clearly showing the improvements. Which university do you know that has an airport? Which university has a footprint in 130 countries? Which university has 400,000 students within this continent? which university leads and has been at the center of setting up at least 20 universities in the continent by ensuring that the continent has institutions of open distance education that help the masses of the continent to succeed. And why should we as UNISA be always asked about this shoddy report that we put even on, what is that thing that you use, Professor Mwepe, when you want to see whether work is original? You call it turn it in. There's turn it in and there's others. So you should some reports sense. Very clear tenure and will not be with to undermine the City of South Africa, especially on things that are not facts. If you criticize us as a university factually, we are willing to correct ourselves. But if you are going to use conjecture, assumptions, accusations that are not founded on fact, we're not going to accept that. So I wish to say this is the response on the so-called independent assessor report. There's nothing hunky-dory about an improving African university. There's something beautiful about a university that contributes to the transformation of our society, the improvement of democracy, the Africa we want, Agenda 2063, and we are quite appreciative. I did not know, Mr. Mahlangu, that you were the one who asked the question, does UNISA have leadership? The leadership is here. They should speak for themselves. And I am here. I have spoken about the university and its growth, and I'm appreciative that you posed that critical question. We don't have a problem engaging. You asked it as a question. So at least we are appreciative it's a question. I think the improvements that you're seeing, witnessing, that we have shared about governance, finances, the improvement of science, as well we should understand that the evolution of human histories demonstrate in each civilization there are always competing interests and contestations. They could be about power, about money, about influence, and around a trampling of others so that others take for themselves what they want. The slavery experience is one testament of such an epoch. The colonial enterprise and the wars that were fought in our continent, but in the globe, are also indicators of this. The World War I, World War II, the war on Afghanistan, on Iraq, on Libya, on Congo, are equally signifiers of a world without peace and the roles of institutions of learning. Yes, Professor Sachs was invited by us 2 years ago to reflect with us on what universities are about. And because of the G20 meeting that our country hosted for the first time, he found it prudent to come around this time and to engage with us, and we were quite heartwarmed. But he wasn't the first institutional guest to reflect with us around multilateralism, around the place of diplomacy, how we interact or deal with wars or conflict or battles in our society. There are many local or university academicians who already work in those areas. We are also the first university to have ambassadors in residence. The former Director General of DECO and Ambassador Diseko and Ambassador Ambassador Nhlap. Yes. Ambassadors in residence at UNISA. The idea is for us to ensure that concrete experiences of people who have been in multilateral institutions and the work that we do in teaching, learning, and research intersect. And therefore, on the war on Iran, the Senate of the University of South Africa will be issuing a statement, but also a study, a concept note for deliberation by our university on what this war means. But we have been calling for peace with justice, for cessation of war, for prioritization of youth and young adults and families, but also for universities and learning sites not to be impacted by wars. We understand that our country is the first line of positions on where the country stands. As a university, we're calling for peace, we're calling for cessation of war, we're calling for the instigators of the war to retreat, and we are saying, as a university, we've always been at the center of calling for peace and for justice, including for the people in Palestine. My brother from SABC, you had asked another question around the registrar and the questions around the cases associated with that. There are the LSO of the university is around. I think he can speak to the court issues. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a vice chancellor and a professor of ethics. So they will tell it better than I will do. But I would like, therefore, Professor Mahan, on the position of the university on multilateralism, I think it's a question that you can answer. On the university and the arts, no, Mr. Sfiso, I think you'll have lost the best university that hosts artists, gives them an opportunity, even at a time when no one is interested to pay them for their trade, is this university. You'll see each time we open the university or close the university, we ensure that the creatives, the artists, the musicians are invited so that they understand the place of a university as an anchor point for the creatives. You'd also recognize that this is the university that acknowledged Me Esther Mahlangu, Dr. Mahlangu, not only as an artist, but as a mathematician because of the patterns and the art that she produces. And therefore, Professor Nkosi, I think you can share about our work in film, our work in creatives, but also in art and science intersecting, as I've just shared. I think if you were to come to the Vice Chancellor's concert, and we invite you, it's coming. It's something that is beautiful. Last year, we had Phumeza Machigeza, one of the best soloists or opera musicians in the world, also singing alongside one of the African musicians that is highly appreciated in the country and in the world, Simpiwe Dana, for her elocution on the questions that women, our society, and others are asking. So we are committed not only to the natural sciences, but also to the humanities and the social sciences, including the creatives. Thank you very much, but colleagues will add on where I might have left out. Thank you. Professor, but Professor Snukwan, you'll tell us who will have to do it. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very much, VC. I think I'll allow, as per your directive, the first one, Advocate Mabusela, just high level, because this thing, it's legal jargon. So if you may just come, clarify. And it's better that because you know that we had 3 major cases that you wrapped off now of Memashiro, Mohashwa, and this one. So that, of the Mutata, so that we close it. Better come to the podium because the cameras are here. So we don't want them to say that there was a faceless ED at UNISA.
Good morning, colleagues and everyone. As they have indicated, my name is Opa Mabusela, the Acting Executive Director in the Legal Services Office. I'm not sure as to which to answer, because when the questions were asked, well, as Senator Tesenokwane has indicated earlier, giving the LSO a nickname, Bekele Beke, I'm not sure what that would mean. But with regard to, I see the question is with regard to the former registrar of the university. On high level, I can simply just indicate that on the 17th of March, which was on I think 2 days ago, we had our been going on against the university, the Vice Chancellor and its leadership, wherein there was, a serious attack, which affected the integrity and the reputation of the university about the lies which have been spread all over time and time again. And the university decided, of course, that there must be an end to this. And for the end of this to come, then there must be the beginning, which is the beginning of trying to protect the good name of the university. Fortunately, the court understood our position. They would have to come, convince the judge as to order should not be, meaning why he should not be interdicted permanently. That is with regard to that. And the other issues, I think most of the media houses have information with regard to Mandisa Mashego, with regard to Mukhashwa, with regard to Qani, perhaps a case in which Qani, who taking her credentials, the university's the university and council's position with regard to the appointments and so forth. And the court on the 20th of January gave an order interdicting him, confirming the order that was issued in 2024, the 27th November 2024, confirming that that was an order of the High Court and that he is in contempt. And he decided to lodge or to file for an appeal. And then, therefore, he applied for a leave to appeal, which was held on the 3rd of March. And on the 3rd of March, the court again dismissed his application and ordered him still to comply with the terms of the order, which is to apologize to the university and all people who were defamed in his communication. And as we speak right now, there has not been anything, or we have not seen any apology or retraction of some sort. And I don't want to say much, except that the university is deciding as to what steps should be taken in order to enforce its rights and also to ensure that the court orders are complied with. They said I must say this in high level, Professor Senukwane. And then with regard to Mohashwa, of course, I think the last communication that you had was that there was an interdict against him, but I need to tell you now that 2 weeks back, I'm not sure about the exact date, but he was arrested for contempt of court, that the court ordered him to retract and not to do certain things against the university and whatever. He failed to comply and was on the run for some time. Unfortunately, at one stage, the police managed to incarcerate him, and he is, as far as I'm concerned, and the information that I have is that he's serving a prison sentence of 6 months. Yeah, thank you. Can I sit?
Yes, Advo. Unless if there were follow-ups. But for now, let's request Prof. Nkosi to clarify the question on arts. Prof. Or let's allow Prof. Mahano first. Prof, then you can come. Thanks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mine is simply to reflect momentarily on the matter of multilateralism as well as global partnerships, which actually speaks to the question that was posed by Ntates Fiso Mahlangu. As a university, we take multilateralism and global partnerships quite seriously. We actually look at these as part of our science diplomacy. We recognize that we are not a university that is confined to the boundary lines of our university. Our gaze extends beyond these confines. It is continental and even extending beyond the continent. Just to demonstrate how serious do we take this aspect of our operations. Just at the onset of the year, in January, we hosted a delegation from Yonsei University in South Korea. We have a long-standing partnership with this institution. And this is the institution where Professor Chibueze contributed to establish a very massive telescope. It is very impressive that you have South Koreans acknowledging the phenomenal contribution of an African. I was so impressed when I was there. I had the opportunity to be there and to see that telescope and to hear from the Koreans themselves acknowledging the contribution of Professor Chibueze. So we had the delegation here. They spent some time with us because they have research partnerships that they are doing with some of our colleagues in the College of Human Sciences and as well as Science, Engineering, and Technology. But then another event which recognizes the kind of partnerships that we have as an institution. We hosted the African Council on Higher Education conference. And this is actually an entity that includes the vice chancellors of universities which offer their education through distance modalities. They were here was it in February? And we had a very serious engagements with them. As we speak in Tatemashangu, if you go to the science campus, you have a delegation of Chinese who are hosted by the College of Science, Engineering and Technology, doing various types, of research pursuits. Not so long, we were in Kenya to formalize a memorandum of understanding with the International Institute of Livestock Research. That's a highly recognized research institute, and it is collaborating with the department, the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences to do research on various fronts of livestock, breeding, etc., etc. So that demonstrates, in a nutshell, I haven't actually extended to other partnerships that we have in the interest of time. But with these examples, we're demonstrating that UNISA is not a localized institution. As a matter of fact, to endorse what the VC said earlier on with regard to the Palestinian challenges, etc., was it last year, Vice Chancellor, when the Senate of the university decided to release its position on the Palestinian challenges? And it was quite explicit about its position, demonstrating the atrocities that are perpetrated against the Palestinian people. So we are not a silent university. Regarding the recent occurrences in Iran and what America is doing and Israel, is also doing with regard to Iran. Senate again. We had Senate, was it last week or? Yes. Last week. Senate on its own decided to start making a statement with regard to this conflict. So we are a university that is rooted in the global occurrences, and we want to pronounce adequately our assessment of these happenings. Let me limit myself to that end. Thank you very much.
Good day, colleagues. Thank you very much for the question, Mr. Mahlangu. I would love to inform you that the University of South Africa is the only accredited institution when it comes to music examination. So we've got the College of Human Sciences, where we host the Department of Music and Arts. All our exhibitions are shown worldwide. The colleagues in the Department of Arts and Music showcase their work, which means that we are an international university because our work is showcased there. We've got different staff members who are musicians. Last month, we've got 2 colleagues who participated in the Paris Theatre Festival, where they were singing with Salif Keita and 1 international colleague. And then we've got a Department of Communication Sciences, which deals with journalism and other disciplines. We are hosting an African Film Festival later in year, and our request is so to invite you because we want to showcase our African artists when it comes to film festival. And then last month, we were in the Eastern Cape because we are aligning with the Marine Studies catalytic niche area. We did film oceanography. We took school kids. They went there, they were taking pictures, and then we were analyzing what do people understand with film, ocean, and spirituality. We've got an institute that is in Cape Town and Lenasia. That is our Institute for Social and Health Sciences, we've got a colleague that got a grant to deal with black epistemologist practices. He's working with communities along the Eastern Cape Ocean where they go inside and then they analyze the understanding of human beings when it comes to Africanization, spirituality, and also the use of the ocean in terms of economic strategies. So it's Prof. Hugo Kanam, who is dealing with a big project where we are supporting him under the strategic projects at the University of South Africa. And then it's just, there's a guy called Dr. Angus Taylor. We gave him an honorary degree last year as the University of South Africa because we're appreciating the work that he's doing. If you go around here, Pretoria, Joburg, Durban, you'll see his sculptures. One is here in the city where he is using stones to create his artwork. If you go up to the mall, Castlegate Mall, he was commissioned to craft sculptures, and they've got meaning because he's using wood, he's using also stone. He's invited internationally to showcase on his artwork. I think I've responded, but we appreciate your question because we need to move now to dramatic arts, but we are working on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. I'm going to request that Dr. Molapo to come and speak, the VP responsible on compliance, governance, and law, so that we get a picture of how we operate.
Thank you, Program Director, and thanks for the opportunity. I will be brief. I'm just adding my voice to the VC's presentation. I think she covered everything comprehensively, but just to edge the aspect on, rather than concentrating on the assessor's report, we should focus on regulatory bodies that UNISA is responsible for, and having to, to be accountable on the work of the university. The Department of Higher Education and Training and the Council of Higher Education are just a few that I can mention, where we present our work and where we have to be compliant, and the reason why the university is still standing. We have the university strategy and its strategic plan that are submitted to the minister. We have the annual performance plan that we submit and have council oversight to making sure that the work that we submit to the minister is in order and is aligned to the overall mandate of the university. With this annual performance plan, we have our own plans internally as the university, and we measure our performance, we plan and measure our performance and submit to all the bodies, the oversight bodies, to management and the external bodies, which is the Department of Higher Education. On the other hand, I also wish to indicate that our global reach in terms of performance is not only internal. We have, the CHE, we have done voluntary reviews. We do conduct voluntary reviews with the Council of the Council for Higher Education. In 2022, we had an audit with the council, coincidentally around the time, when the assessor's report was produced. But this report did not even take cognizance of the regulatory work that we do internally. At that time, 2 outcomes were there. 6 of them we did very well as a university, and 4 of them we had some weak areas that we have worked on. We have submitted a report. We have what we call improvement plans, that we have had an agreement with the CHE to say we will work in these weak areas and submit to you on regular basis. And it's nothing new. All the universities do that. But UNISA has been consistent in making sure that we volunteer to be reviewed by these bodies. And the support that we got was from COL, which is the Commonwealth of Learning, which did a mock review with us before we actually did our Council of Higher Education review. So we are very transparent about what we are able to do, what we aspire to do, and what we deliver. And where there are weak areas, we work on them diligently with global bodies and our internal regulatory structures. And so one of the weak areas, if I may give an example, was on governance, how we can strengthen our governance. We have been working, according to the CHE, to strengthen our governance by reviewing our university statute, which is with the minister now, and we are busy making the corrections that are required and will make the final submissions, and it will be gazetted. Secondly, we have reviewed the delegation of authority, and we are busy preparing for the implementation of that document, which has been approved by Council. And based on that delegation of authority, we have reviewed the university charters, policies to align with the delegation of authority and the reviewed statute. We have also reviewed our institutional governance framework, and we are in the process of digitizing that governance framework. And then also, in terms of the CHE, we have made our first submission in 2025 in September, and we have received feedback from them, and they are quite happy with the progress that we have made in our improvement plans. And we have recently submitted the last report in February 2026. We are awaiting their feedback. So we are very much happy with the progress that we have made since that feedback, since the audit of 2022, and I think we are getting there. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Program Director.
I'm going to request Ndade Mutebele, who's the VP Ops and Facility, to clarify the issue of the airport, whether there's an airport.
Good afternoon. Yeah, just on the airport. The airport is about 20 hectares. It's on the 22 hectares of land. So the investment is not only about the fact that we will be conducting studies on aeronautics, but we also have hangars at the airport that we will be using as commercial space, leasing them out. Already the contracts that were in the hands of the previous owner are transferred to UNISA as part of the due diligence. Aviation Authority. I think that would answer the questions from independent media. Thank you. Thanks.
Professor Boda, on issues of governance, you know, we are always accused, rightfully so or wrongfully so, about compliance, governance from your area. So just perhaps to take the public in confidence to say these are the processes more or less, so that people are at ease, that we don't just wake up and make decisions in the morning without structures.
Thank you, Professor Snokwani. I think Dr. Mulapo, maybe the only thing
promote to a student elections now.
Okay, we are currently busy with our SRC elections, and we are on track. We will be done within the coming 3 months, but we are on track. And the last thing that I can say about the convocation, we elected our president last year, and we also elected the second member of convocation that is joining the convocation president, and we've got 2 council members. And the minister gave us his appointees. We are busy with the processes, but we are almost done. I think, yes, as far as governance is concerned, we think we are on the right track. Thank you.
Thank you very much, colleagues and everyone who's present here. Just to say, sometimes people think that we operate from a code, or some sort of a code, or a secret group. We don't operate like that. And I think that's important for you to know that we've got structures, governance structures within the university that guides us, that's where decisions are made, and we implement such. So it's important. And actually, we are live in our own social media platform, multimedia, and also on 404. So there's no secret. What we are saying here, we'll be able to defend it anywhere. But I think I'm going to try another round of hands to check. Prof. Masenya, you wanted something, but you'll have to come here because of the media will not be able to recognize you. Yes. Until we've developed I spoke to Man again and Dadem Tebel. We'll get cameras for future to rove around.
I think I need to add that we have council here. We have the council, the body that has oversight over the university. And this council has council committees. And before each committee sits, I don't know whether there's any other university that does this, the principal and vice chancellor will give the state of the university address to these council committees before the council will ultimately sit. So we have council and it correlates. Thank you.
Colleagues, I'm just going to have a last round. I agreed to that because we started 20 minutes late, but within the next coming.
On the revised or new institutional statute governance framework that has been submitted. And my question would be, what are some of maybe the
Masangu. Independent.
UNISA professor Cameron and the reflected on the Treasury and South Africa's fiscus and growth pattern and where South Africa is shaped to go in the next 10 years. We learned because we analyzed speeches. The President of the Republic then made a speech, but inside the president's speech, unquoted, was Professor Cameron's speech. So we were concerned, but I think we laughed that Treasury's response to South Africa was informed by a UNISA professor, 4 pages of that speech. So that was very interesting.
The whole day. Yes, let's ask Prof. Chibuezi. Maybe, I don't know. Yes, now I'm starting with Prof. Chibuezi, followed by Prof.
Nogwane is short to say, let the man who sends people to space and back to tell us, but who also has algorithms in the space to tell us how they do that. I thought maybe it would be important. I'm a woman vice chancellor, Professor Muruti. I'll start with Professor Feleni, and then do Professor Bupape, then I do Professor Chibuezi as last. We're trying to balance. It's an equilibrium. So
That's
can
fine.
we do it that way?
Yes.
Is it okay?
It's okay.
And thank you. Professor Cameron is here, the person whose speech you're referring to. He's here sitting. Because the president is an alumnus, we think it was a citation of his own university. Thank you. Yeah, Professor Usisi, fast. Oh, Professor Bupat, you're ready. Yeah. Oh, is Feleni not here? She was. She's gone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I am a meteorologist and we work on weather forecasting, climate change projections. So what we are going to be working on is, assisting with the development of models that forecast weather. So what most people do not know is that the models that we are using across the whole African continent for weather forecasting, for climate change projections, were all developed outside of the African continent. So the plan is actually to assist with working on those models so that we can have homegrown models. The other ideas we have is around sensor development. We are importing most of our sensors, so we will be working, to ensure that we start the development of our own sensors. I think that is it all.
Oh, she stepped out. Yeah, you can, Professor Chibuezi. Thank you very much, Prof. Bupape. Thank you. You'll see the scientists are very shy, so don't worry. You can interview them in private as well.
Yes, I am very shy, so if you ask me to go and sit down, I'll be absolutely happy. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon to the people on the high table. My name is James Chibueze. I don't send people to space. There is no food there for you to eat, so I won't do that to you. My research is focused on studying stars and galaxies. I try to understand how very big stars that are 8 times the mass of our sun are formed and how galaxies evolve. But of course, to do this, I use telescopes. Telescopes like the Meerkat. The Meerkat is here in South Africa, costed 4.2 billion rands to build. And this produces enormous data. So it means I use high-performance computing system, and I write algorithms that can process those huge amount of data sets. Of course, if you have skills to write Python scripts that can process big data for astronomy, you can repurpose that skill to solve problems in the society. So I've written a machine learning algorithm that is able to take satellite images of South Africa and use it to show how informal settlements, what you call shacks, are expanding, and you can provide that to the government to use for decision making. What is of interest to me mostly is to train people. The humans are more important to me than the stars. Yes, I love the stars, but humans are more important. So I'm very keen on human capital development to make sure we increase the critical mass of astronomers in the continent. I'll stop there so that others can take a place. Well, okay, the VC has asked me to speak about partnerships. That is the longest thing to speak about. I have collaboration globally with literally every big university you can think of, from Cambridge to Oxford to Leeds University, University of Manchester, in the UK, in the US. I have collaboration with Caltech, collaboration with people at University of California in Berkeley. In Asia, I got my PhD in Japan, so I have my tentacles spread all across Asia. In Africa, of course, I have collaborations here in the continent. I was at Northwest University before now. I still have collaboration with Northwest University. I am Nigerian, so I have collaboration with University of Nigeria, where I had my bachelor's and master's. I have collaboration in nearly 30 of the 54 countries in the continent. Thank you very much. Students. Okay, the VC has asked me to mention names of young South Africans who are doing that I'm teaching. We have about 26 students and postdocs working in astronomy and astrophysics. Male, female, the gender balance is between 63-37%. Of course, we're making effort to make it 50-50. There are lots of South Africans, and I'm going to mention all the names. I'll start with the postdocs. Portia Lehodi is female. She's a postdoc, and she's working on how galaxies launch jets in a system. There is Mponen Kopana. She's also female. She's South African. She's a postdoc working with me. She's looking at cosmology, how the galaxy or how the universe evolved in the past over time. We have Eliab Molafelo. He's also a postdoc. I have Ntlengani Baloi. He's doing PhD and was, thanks to the university, recently appointed an academic associate. You heard about 800 and something. One of them is working with me. I have Elisep Mogapi. She just completed her master's, submitted. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping for a distinction. Mpo Mokanyane, South African male. This is one person I'm especially proud of. He's from the Soweto area, so to have a student who coming from Soweto, he has just submitted his master's as well. He's now undergoing external examination. We're not only South Africans. I have students from other African countries, like Francisco Makukule from Mozambique. He's doing PhD with me, working on the African Millimeter Telescope as well. We have a Tanzanian, Jonas, also doing PhD. We have someone from Madagascar, Francia, who's also working with me. So I guess that's a good balance. Is there anything else? Thank you very much, everyone.
Professor Pele is here. Just to show your awards and your research briefly.
Okay, I've been introduced already. I come from the Institute for Nanotechnology and Water Sustainability. So under that institute, we have two focus areas: water sustainability, that actually looks into water challenges, and nanotechnology, where we synthesize various nanomaterials and characterize them and utilize them into photocatalysis, membrane, and electrochemistry. So what I want to talk about is one of the recognitions, the Science Oscar, in South Africa that I won in 2023, which was actually focusing on electrochemistry for monitoring contaminants in water, because it is important for us to come up with research that will solve African problems. So we have South African scholars solving African problems. So it means that we are doing an excellent work at UNISA. And another award that I've won over the years is the South African Women in Science. It recognizes South African women who are making contributions in research as well as capacity development. The and having in South Africa.
So much professors for the institution. I'm not going to waste time. We can't be here the whole day. Every good thing comes to an end, and this is the end. As I invite the principal and the vice principal, institutional development, Prof. Makhan, I wish to state this as I vacate. You know, malicious rumors, others call it allegation, but I call them malicious rumors, mixed with gossips. I never thought that in academia and in media space we'll have such. In our case, they affect our brand. And once they affect our brand, there's a question about the offerings that we are providing, qualification. If you now a CA, Prof. Mudisa, now Jigi, there's a question. Hey, we even question the qualification of Prof. Mudisa because he studied there. The other thing, now also as a fundraiser of the university, it tempers with our brand, therefore translate to when you go seek funding from donors. Now you ought to explain yourself, not with something that is factual, but which is purely gossips. And we've seen that happening. And I'm making this example to say we are not going to stop. I've seen people now in Facebook and everywhere tweet, say, yeah, why UNISA is taking people to court. When they dent our reputation, no one says anything. We've got the responsibility, by the way. The CFO is not here. We've got a budget that is dedicated to taking everyone or anyone head on to clean the reputation of the university. And we must clarify it in public. We can't be subjected to every week to gossip. Someone met someone there in Vilakazi Street or in Mamelodi there where there are a lot of nice pubs there. And we must respond to that. So we'll take everyone head on so that we clean the name of the university and its integrity. Prof. Makano, SABC. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Senukwane, for the opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, my task is very brief and well spelled out. It's just to extend words of gratitude to yourselves. Please know that your presence is very important and highly appreciated. To start off with, it is important that we appreciate the SABC, the Citizen Independent News, 18 News, for their role in society, and of course, other media platforms who could not make it. Do know that the role that you play in society to inform society, to raise issues about societal care, etc. We thank you for that invite and of our university, Bombeki, of the university by Dr. Dan Musia, the principal and vice chancellor of our university, Professor Puleng Lenkabula, the management and extended management, as well as all epistemic communities of the university. We want to thank you dearly. And we want to say for society that this august institution is well managed, it is properly governed. It is part of our strategy that on a quarterly basis, we should actually have a sitting of this nature with media platforms to communicate how far we have gone with regard to realizing the strategic aspirations of the university. So we really appreciate you. And this is not to quieten you, but it is very important that when you raise your voice, or any person in the society raises their voice against the university, they ought to be having facts, as Professor Senukwani clearly outlined. Unfortunately enough, we have been kept busy by people who are disgruntled for one reason or another. And because they wanted to express their disgruntlement, they found that abusing the name of the university would actually be appealing. And that is not correct. And I don't want to repeat what Professor Senukwani expressed so eloquently. Let me also appreciate the executive deans, members of the MENCOM of the university, extended management who are present here. We value the roles that you play in your various spaces. And in the interest of time, I will not particularize you, but do know that you are heartily appreciated. But also let me appreciate Professor Senukwani for leading these proceedings, so superbly, and also for the background work that you did together with Memwabi and the members of your teams. And in the interest of time, I will shy away from Ntatehuma, mentioning each and every one of you. But you guys are doing a phenomenal work, and please do know that you are highly appreciated for what you do, even if it is behind, the scenes where people do not get to see you. Know that we notice what you are doing, and we appreciate it. To our principal and vice chancellor, as I wind up, Professor Puleng Lenkabula, words elude us always to accurately appreciate you, Vice Chancellor. Yours has been, in the previous 5 years, solid and steadfast leadership. You have held the knife on the sharpest side, as my people would say, and we appreciate being witnesses of the wonderful and phenomenal milestones that the University of South Africa has attained under your leadership. These are remarkable accomplishments that are not paralleled by other universities. And I don't want to be competitive, but these are facts that cannot be contested. I'm responsible for human resources, Vice Chancellor. It was a marvel to welcome adjunct academics in February as well as in March. These are fellow South Africans who have been unemployed, yet they possess master's and doctoral degrees. When other universities are shedding off labor, one of them shed 1,600 employees. And we are amazed why you journalists have not spoken about this. It's a recent occurrence. 1,600 people have been shed off, not picked up by the media. But we are grateful that this august university has had the means and the wherewithal to recruit the quota that the VC has referred to. And we have welcomed them. They are part of the teaching workforce of the university. We thank you, VC, and it is our desire and prayer that God the Almighty will strengthen you, will give you the requisite wisdom as you embark on the second term of your tenure. And we are waiting in anticipation and deep desire to see this wonderful university being catapulted to much more greater heights under your leadership. Many, many thanks to the distinguished professors. Thank you very much. You were particularly invited just to crave the curiosity of media so that they know that there is excellence in abundance at UNISA. Continue doing the excellent work that you are doing for the benefit of the African continent. Colleagues, in the event I've omitted any person in the expression of gratitude, please pardon me and let me wish you everything of the best for the rest of the day ahead. Thank you.